All right, and welcome into Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. We sit down for the first time in 10 days. Maybe it's 11. Not sure. Regardless, doesn't really matter. We're doing it right now. We're recording this one on April 28th. About 11 a.m. as Razor and I find some time to get together. How you been? I know you've been up to some NHL radio. I've caught you a couple of times. What else you been up to, bud?
That's it. We had a quiet week, school vacation, so we were kind of around trying to entertain my crew. But family in town, Easter, all that stuff. But no, not much hockey stuff. Watching it on TV when I can, but going to bed early too. So no late games for me. It's been nice.
So you've been avoiding the yawns. You should be well rested. We should have a 0 yawn day. If we have a yawn show for the next 30 to 35 minutes, and I absolutely know, then it's me.
Yes, that's true. Yes, I don't feel a yawn anywhere in my my vocabulary whatsoever right now.
In your being, you don't feel a yawn coming.
I don't think I can even force myself to do it.
Vegas just took it off the books. Vegas doesn't trust you. They still say that you're going to find a yawn, and they know that I am yawn-inducing for Razor. Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor, proudly presented by our lead sponsor, Fazenda Coffee Roasters. Fazenda Coffee Roasters is the place to go, whether you've got a wholesale business, whether you've got your own catering, whatever it is, right? Or if you're just a at-home customer and you want some of the best coffee around, whole bean, ground, ultra dark, very light, Fazenda Coffee Roasters has got it for you. Go check out fazendacoffee.com. And if you want specifically the Morning Brew blend, the hat, or the Clean Canteen Traveler, go to fazendacoffee.com/morningbrew. Fazenda Coffee, the place to go, and the proud sponsor of Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. Playoffs have been good, no doubt about it so far. And early on, that series is going to end quickly. Oh, that one's going to end quickly. That team looks like crap. Now they've played out. We've got a few series that have gone to the 2-2 stage, and that's awesome. We'll get into some playoff talk near the end. Razor, you and I have not had a chance to chat since the Bruins had their end-of-year media management availability. Don, Cam, Charlie were the three up there talking, and I didn't think anything really earth-shattering came out of it when it was all said and done. My take on it, if people wanted a distinct plan of this is how we're going to go about doing it, and this is where we're going to go with our money, and this is what I don't know how they could. I can't remember what day it was, April 23rd, I believe, 22nd or 23rd. I just don't think they could come up with that type of plan, given that they don't know who still is going to be available, and they don't know how they're going to go about it. Now, are they going to do any RFA, contract offers, offer sheets? I mean, there's still a little ways to go for that specific plan. With all that said, it went on for a while. There was some back and forth, this and that. When it's all said and done, how do you feel after going over that?
Well, I felt like it went exactly how I had it go in my head, all the way up into the 2015 draft question being asked again and again, and answered. I think the answer was actually a little bit different than normal from Cam, but no, it went exactly how it was. And I think the people that went in not liking the season and the way things were going to move, and the people that, the season ticket holders and the charge and the tickets going up, like all the way through, it was, you're on one side or the other. And you were going to complain about the parts that you were going to, if you were on that side, and you agreed with other parts if you were on the other side. That's how press conferences go when you don't make the playoffs in a market like Boston. It's a little testy, it's a little defensive, it's a little angry, and I guess on top of it all, you don't really get a lot.
Have you had a chance? I haven't, to listen to other, and I don't even know if other markets have had the end of season presser a Philadelphia, a New York. Those two come to mind because those are two very distinct personalities, those cities. Two very good hockey markets, those cities. Philly has struggled, as we know, for a handful of years now to get back to where they think they should be. The Rangers, albeit last year they were Eastern Conference Final participants, I didn't think they were this great team, and Florida took it to them. And again, I will say this, I'll keep repeating it. And Paul Maurice brought it up to me the other day when I was down in Florida. When I asked him a question, he talked about how vicious the Bruins series were the last 2 years against the Florida Panthers and Razor. He said they were by far the most competitive, vicious series that they've had. And meaning, I'm not trying to discredit what the Rangers did last year. They made it to the semis or they lost, but I look at that team and I'm like, they're in disarray as well, at least in my opinion. Have you had a chance to listen to any of those other or as I know you've done some national radio, hear any of those? And it just seems different in Boston, Razor. It just seems different how these things, I guess that's my long-winded way of saying it just seems different here how these things transpire, meaning even these type of media events.
Yeah, I mean the one I listened to the one in Vancouver, that was a shit show, and that's a big hockey market in Canada, and that's pretty bipartisan on what people think.
Did it go back and forth?
No, because the president was going on about other players on other teams and brothers coming and brothers leaving and Quinn Hughes, and it was way more chaotic. Like stuff was coming out of that. You're like, oh my God, I can't believe he said that, which we know the Bruins aren't going to do that. They don't do business. They never have. They have people that like Don and Cam aren't going to talk out of school. They just won't. I guess to the point the Rangers won. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people that wanted a wholesale change in Chris Drury and everything else. And he got an extension because they like what he's doing. And you need to have somebody in charge. So it's always different in Boston. And especially this year, I think with not making the playoffs.
Yeah, well, absolutely. And not only not making the playoffs, but not making the playoffs and nosediving. And I think that's the other thing. This wasn't an end of, last weekend. Oh, they didn't make the playoffs. This was what the heck, what did we just witness and where are they going? But again, I think there has to be a plan, an internal plan in place. A hope list, a wish list, so to speak.
Of course.
Hey, this is how we're going to go about it. But I don't think that, to go out and to overtly share that just yet, I think would be
bad business.
I think it would be
horrible business.
Well, horrible. I was going to say really impossible, and B, because it wouldn't look good, sound good. Not only if it didn't end up happening that way, but now again, you're going after players on other teams that officially haven't.
Yeah, it's tampering. It's against the rules.
Right. Yeah. Right. So there's that minor detail as well. So I guess, did anything truly stand out? When it was all said and done, I don't think so. I know people talk about, there was the ticket price question and there was this and there was that. But when it was all said and done, Boston's a city of attitude, right? The fans have attitude. The sports teams have attitudes. The people in general have attitudes. And I think it's okay for everybody. I think it's great. I think that's what makes Boston such a freaking awesome place to be part of this sports place. But when it's all said and done, did anything really jump out to you?
Yeah, no, it didn't. I guess the one, I guess I shouldn't say nothing jumped out. I would say nothing was coming out of that. Again, it's an autopsy at the end of the season. We just mentioned, you're not getting details from anybody. You're just not getting anything that you can hold your hat on. Oh, they're going to hire this coach or they're going to have this guy. I think we got the answer on Joe Sacco having an opportunity to interview and impress himself. I think we found out that the goalie situation will be different next season. We're going to
get to that. We're going to get to that in a second.
So that stuff, those are a couple of little pieces that jumped out. Mm-hmm. But you actually heard an answer that pertained to the question and pertained to kind of what they're thinking going forward. But when it comes to roster build up and coaching and how it's going to look, we got what you would expect to get. I think
you can only go so far with
correct. You
things.
Just can't. I mean, I bet they don't. And to the coaching point, I guess while we're here, like, are we going to go here with Sully too now?
Well, we have to.
Yeah. Absolutely. So Sully gets let go this morning, which has worked out really well. I'm glad we didn't record this last night.
Yep.
Of course, there's a connection between Charlie McAvoy being the coach when I was here for the Bruins, coaching me in Providence. There's a long history with him and this organization playing here.
And he coached here already. That's the other thing.
Well, no, he coached with me, in Providence too.
Oh,
he coached, So, so the coaching part of it, I don't think even now they know who the coach is going to be. There's 6 teams. 4 of them are really cool places to coach. Being
Boston,
Vancouver's probably one of them because Tockett's going to leave. You've got Chicago, you've got New York, you've got Philly and Boston. So there's 5 that are really cool. Yeah. And then you have Anaheim, which could be cool. Seattle could be cool. Like, this is the time to be a free agent coach like Mike Sullivan, which probably goes into his decision.
Now, by the way, I just did a little quick deep dive into this. His contract is still in place. Okay. It's language that they use of parting ways.
So they fired him.
It has to be.
Yeah. So they fired him. Okay. So that, so Sully could hang out, but he's not. I can't imagine him with this situation right now. Again, Rick Tockett's a domino. Quenneville could be a domino. So my point is, the Bruins have no idea who their coach is going to be because there's just too many names. There's too many other teams. They can't just dial in on one guy at this point, unless it's someone completely off the board, which could be the case too. That they've done business that way as well.
I've tried thinking of the off the board scenario, and I've got stumped on this one. Have you come up with anybody off the board that you're, I guess, comfortable bringing up right now?
The only one I could is if. So it depends on which way they're going, right? That's a big part of it. But I could see them if the Providence Bruins win the Calder Cup and go on a run, and all the young guys have unbelievable playoff runs. They found a way to get out of Game 3 on Sunday afternoon. They won big 5-1. I could see them pulling from within. They've pulled from within before. That could be the one that goes off the board. Ryan Mougenel.
Yeah.
If he wins the whole thing, this team. And they want to continue to build the young guys. Now you're talking a Bruce Cassidy situation coming off of a Claude Julien situation.
I'm going to only disagree with you on this. I don't think he needs to win the whole thing. I think it needs to be a great run, but not in the end win it all, because there's so many factors that also go into the American League Championship. And I don't need to tell you this, but having experienced it with the Chicago Wolves organization myself a couple of times, I and the A, you get impacted significantly. If your team loses, an NHL team, and then you got a couple of young players and you're like, hey, listen, take a few days, go down there. And all of a sudden you're getting some kids, I'm going to make it up. And you know what I mean? From one of these teams get kicked out.
No, they play Charlotte next round. So Carolina loses out in the next 3. Like they get bumped out.
Yeah.
Then they can point.
Could they get 1 or 2 players? It's all it takes to go down there that are eligible, like to go down and play. There's other teams that I'm missing out. Anyways, that is a possibility. I don't think it takes a championship, but I think it takes a serious run, I think, for that to happen. And I do think it could happen as well. So that's a kind of an off the board. I'm trying to think of somebody from another organization that would really jump out. But then I'm like, again, you need to factor in, would they want to come to Boston? Would it be the right type of thing to come to Boston? Because there may be a few coaches in the first round, if they lose out in the first round, that could be available. We'll have to wait and see when it's all said and done. Mike Sullivan's name is out there because of the obvious, as you said. It is a very interesting scenario. Like, here he is with Pittsburgh, a team that has been in the malaise of great veterans. A couple of them are great, starting with Sidney Crosby, a very aging team, yet then trying to bring in some young guys. And then I kind of felt like I didn't know where they were going again this year. Remember the trade that they made with Anaheim and moving players out and their goaltending situation. So what's Sully looking for? That's another thing too. Where's he at in his career when he says, what is he, 50? He's a year too older than me, 57, 58 maybe. Where does he want to go? It's really easy to say he's a Boston area guy, so he wants to just come here. But I rhetorically ask, what's it like knowing you're going to coach your son-in-law? Mm-hmm. In a short-term tournament like the Four Nations, that's very different than an 82-game regular season. What is that when I say relationship? I think they get along absolutely beautifully. I'm talking about the day in, day out grind of that. Does that impact it? I don't know. Do you think that has a factor? I don't know, Razor. I don't know where you stand on that.
Well, no, and that's the big thing with the coaching is everybody had that. Like, we don't know these personal preferences. It's not so, the fit is so important and it's so deep. It's not like a right winger look or a center like, oh, I want to play with David Pastrnak. That works. He's a righty. He's a lefty. Like, you can break it down that way. With the coaches, it goes so deep, whether it's relationships that they've had for 30 years with somebody in an organization, whether it's where their wife wants to live, whether it's how much money, like we don't really get.
How about if your daughter feels
correct? And then on top of it, she's going to have to say 100%. So yes. There's just so many. It's really hard to pick in this situation where there's 7 teams. If it was 1 team or 2 teams, it would be much easier to decipher. In this situation this year, like I'm completely lost on the coaches, and that includes the Boston Bruins. They could hire anybody, and I'd be like, oh, okay, that makes sense in one way or another.
And I guess the other thing is, you've got a lot of these coaches that have been around for a while, and that goes back to your potential off the board type conversation. We brought up the name Mougenel. But you have a lot of guys that have been through a lot of iterations. And are we at the point where, again, is that what this team needs? Or do they need a different type of, I'll use Spencer Carberry coming up from the American League. I think there's that connection that you made to a guy like Ryan Mougenel. It's a different look on things. It's a different age group. It's a different, mindset on coaching, communication, etc.
No, exactly. And it's just so hard to really know from the outside. And there's not, and you're everywhere right now with talking to people and around people. There isn't even a team that has no teams are giving anybody lists of who they have. Remember, like back 15 years ago, each team would have a list and you'd hear about the list somewhere or another. Yeah. We're not even doing that now. They're doing it's so quiet, the business that they're doing on these coaches. It's just really hard to have a temperature.
I agree. And I do think that there might be a couple of guys in the first round that could be, who knows, available too when it's all said and done. You brought up goaltending. I already had that written down. Important to discuss here. We had a long chat in our season wrap show, which we had great numbers on, folks. Thank you very much for listening or watching and supporting us on that. Joonas Korpisalo and wants to play more. We talked about that in our past show, but also now it was addressed in the season end management presser. How do we look at that? And can you quantify that? Meaning, can you put a number on, assuming Swayman and Korpisalo is your tandem next season, based on what you heard, former NHL goaltender? Can you put a number on what you think that means now for games played for both of these guys?
So what I heard is not necessarily a quantifiable number, a games played number, more scenario based. And I think Korpisalo probably deep down kind of meant that I was going good. And I felt really good about my game, and I was getting wins, and I could have went on a run at some point in that season, in the middle of the season, where we were going back to Jeremy every time. And that's what I heard from him, and I certainly heard that from Don Sweeney.
Yes,
in that
I agree.
He wants this to be more merit-based, and he felt at times the coaches should have went merit-based rather than trying to get Jeremy Swayman back to his game-based. And that seems to be a directive or a mandate from Don for next season, that we've always done it this way, whether it was Timmy and Tuukka, whether it was Tuukka and Yarrow, whether it was Tuukka and Gustafsson, or Hudobin. Like if Hudobin got on a run here, Tuukka was going to be okay sitting in the background and letting him go on a run for 10 days, and having him play 3 or 4 games. And so number wise, you probably, from all of that, you back into getting closer to 52-30, which is Bruins-esque, 50-32, somewhere in there. And but that'll be merit-based rather than full on, this is the schedule at the start of the season. We're going to go back to a little bit more. If this guy's won 2 in a row, he's going to play the third. Yeah.
Is it safe to say, I'll say it and then I'll ask you, I don't think you can get to a 45, 35, 37, right? Whatever equals 82. Again, my math skills suck. Because of the contract. I just don't think you can. Do you agree with that?
I do agree with that. All things considered, everybody healthy, you have to be over the 52 mark is about right. Is minimum for Jeremy Swayman.
Does 30 satiate Joonas Korpisalo? Do you think that number does, considering that this is a guy that I know the year before he played for a team that was weaker, didn't have a great team in Ottawa, but he played over 50 games there. Do you think that would satisfy his, again, a number isn't just it, but do you think that would satisfy him?
I do. Yes, I do. And again, it's giving him the opportunity, because again, he ends up getting 24 decisions, right? Yep. So again, that he gets 27 games, which you'll say, oh, he was close to that. Well, no, it's really only 24 decisions. I'm talking about 30 decisions, and then he goes into a couple bad games. So you end up having 33 games played at the end of the season, which gets you a little closer. So I think it does. I think, again, when he was 10-4, he wanted 1 or 2 more starts there to get his team going. And he should have.
He should have. So I also wonder, did the coaches feel, I'm just hypothetically asking here, bud, did they feel, well, this is the guy who they signed to an 8-year contract, we have to put him in? Could there have been anything from management, also a directive to try and get him going? I don't know. I don't have that answer, but there's no question that the contract and the fact that they probably kept saying, we've seen Swayman get on a run before, so we need to keep throwing him out there.
Yeah.
So that's where I think it was at.
That's I think you're 100% right there. I think they're looking ahead to the season. Okay, Lindholm's out, but he's going to be back after 4 Nations. I think they had all of the focus, especially in mid-January, on after 4 Nations. And a big part of that was getting Jeremy to the point where he was ready to go on a run after that break. And I think they made the decision. It's obviously made the decision that having him play more was going to be the one that got him into the groove. And unfortunately, that decision didn't go the goalie department way, as Don Sweeney said. And now they're on the clock this year, let's say, in how they make decisions, and it will be a little bit different.
All right. Last thing about this, I want you to put Razor back in the crease. Okay. Not the Razor that played in the Hall of Fame game. Okay. Not the one whose groins almost fell into 8 pieces. I want to go back to, and not Razor Rookie of the Year, just a year or 2 after, maybe 3 years after that.
Yep.
Okay. And end of the year, things don't go great for your team and your partner, who I think you get along with well, but your partner, who is blunt, whether he's a Finn or not, doesn't matter. I mean, just your partner comes out and makes these comments end of the year. And any chance that those comments get your dander up a little bit, get your antenna up a little bit as the guy, since you're the guy and you hear that, could that impact any type of relationship? Now, I'm asking you almost unfairly, because you're not Korpisalo or you're not Swayman. You're not those guys, but you've been a number one. You've been in that position. How do you think, that could impact, if at all, a relationship?
Yeah, it's the way it's the tone and the the underwording, reading between the lines. I didn't get any of that. If that was, from this season.
It wasn't personal is what you're saying.
Correct. It wasn't like Korpisalo came and said, man, I really feel like I could have got us in the playoffs if they had to let me play a few more games.
Okay.
That would absolutely have my hair standing up on the back of my neck if I was the starting goalie and a guy said something like that. Like, I really felt like I could have been the one that made a difference. Like, those are shots.
Yeah.
And those get said. Like, I've heard that.
Mm-hmm.
Those are problematic. A guy saying, I think I could have played more. I felt good at times. I want more starts. That's part of the business. And there's only one net. So that the fact that it wasn't directed at like, I would have made a difference, I would have changed things, meaning that guy sucked and I was better. Because that's really what you're saying. If you think you could have made a difference and the other guy didn't, you're saying he didn't do a good enough job. I didn't hear any of that in this situation. So I think it's water under the bridge for sure.
In the new age of parenting, and I know you can appreciate this being a parent of 3, it's called advocating for yourself, right?
Correct.
Advocate. That's what the terms have been. Meanwhile, when we were kids, and I'm older than you are, it was, hey, stick up for yourself.
That's right. It's sticking up for yourself.
Advocating.
Right. You're going to get walked all over. You're going to get, again, if you're Joonas Korpisalo and you don't talk about this, one, someone's going to figure it out and say, why didn't he complain about this? Because you want that. And 2, you'll just get your 22 starts again next year because everyone knows you're fine with it and you're happy to just collect. So no, you have to stick up for yourself. I'm not saying advocate. Stick up.
Advocating is the new word.
Yes, it is.
Like a few years ago, organic was the
yeah.
Organic. Yes. So it's just interesting, and we did mention this last time we sat down and did a morning brew with Jaffe and Razor. Joonas has a very Finnish, matter-of-fact way about him. He just does, and how he presents it. So it doesn't surprise me. All right, good stuff right there. Speaking of good stuff, and part of the business is recognizing our sponsors because they're the ones that help make this show big time possible, along with our great listeners and viewers. Sunset Lake CBD is one of those great companies that we feel very happy that we were able to partner with as the season went on. Go to sunsetlakecbd.com. Check out all their great products. Use the code BRU20 for 20% off your entire order at sunsetlakecbd.com. They grow, harvest, and ship all of their craft CBD products directly from their farm in northern Vermont straight to your door, so you don't need to go out and go to a store. And you can talk to a person there too, whether it's virtually or you can go online and look at stuff or call them. They're very happy to talk to you about products they have to help you relax. They have gummies and tinctures to help you with sleep, and everybody needs good sleep. They have topicals to relieve sore joints and muscles and also help rehydrate your dry skin. If your order's over $75, I can send you your CBD stuff, ship it for free. So go check out the awesomeness that is sunsetlakecbd.com. We love them an awful lot. Apex Entertainment. We don't have a most entertaining moment of the game because we haven't had a game, unfortunately, for a while. Do you have an Apex most entertaining moment of the playoffs so far? Maybe we can, because we're going to segue to playoffs for a couple of minutes here now, and then we're going to wrap up this episode. Has there been anything that has jumped out to you? Pretty entertaining comeback last night in Edmonton. I feel like LA let him off the hook. But,
oh my God!
What about you?
Byfield, what in the hell are you doing, dude?
Byfield turns the puck over, folks. If you didn't get a chance to see it, go check out NHL.com or YouTube for highlights. Byfield had a chance to shoot the puck out, and he tries to skate it out with a minute and a half left or so. Yeah. I forget the exact time.
It was less than that, 54 seconds.
54 seconds, and then Evan Bouchard slap shot ends up going in. But that was my most entertaining moment, maybe the comeback. What about you? Anything else?
Yeah, that's been the best, craziest series, the back and forth. The other side.
I got another one. Can I say it?
Yeah, of course.
Gabe Landeskog. Landeskog scoring his first goal in over 3 years. How about that last game? Can we do that?
Pretty awesome. That in that series, you're going to go back-to-back overtime games for Dallas to pull those out. They're 2-2 and they've led for 60 seconds or something in the series. So yeah, that's the other big boys. The West is awesome. The East is kind of, I mean, we'll see if Tampa can get another win, but right now it's all eyes on the West.
All right, Apex Entertainment, 100,000 square feet of pure fun. Go check them out up in Marlboro. Those are some of our Apex most entertaining moments. All right, let's talk about the playoffs for a couple of minutes right here. Why is the East just where it's at? It changes. I mean, a few years ago, the last few years, the East was the beast, and now it's changed over to the West. It's just composition of the teams. I have not been able to get invested at all in the Carolina Jersey series at all. I haven't. I don't know. I know the injuries to Jersey haven't helped. Hamilton's been back. I don't even know how much that's helped, but Raleigh or Carolina is a much better team. They have a chance to finish the series off. They're up 3-1, move on from that one. The Florida Tampa, I did game one of that series, and holy smokes, was I not expecting a Florida domination like we saw there. I got to tell you, Brad Marchand had a chance to catch up with him for a while, Razor, before game one. He looked good on that line with Lundell and Luosterainen, forming that third line there. But Tampa, the first two games, they looked, I don't know, after a first period, it was, disengaged. Now, they got back with a very engaged effort down in Florida. I'm having a hard time reading this series.
Yes. Tampa finding a way back in it.
Without Hagel.
We'll really know, what we've got here after this next one. In that, can Tampa actually do that, or was this the perennial, the expected, we're not going down 3-0, we have to win game that everyone kind of takes the foot off the brakes? Both teams have to be dialed on this one, so we'll see kind of where they're at, both guys.
They had weird start times too. They started at 8:50, then they go to 6:30, and then 1 o'clock. And I almost think that's a disadvantage for the home team, the 1 o'clock thing.
Agreed.
It's frenetic, it's crazy, you're back home, etc. So this is a normal start time coming up. The Washington-Montreal series, I give full marks to Montreal for bringing it as much as they could. Nothing surprises me, though, in this series. I mean, the Tom Wilson, Josh Anderson back and forth battle has been very entertaining. And I this is what I love, the personalities of players coming out. And I just feel like, I understand you can absolutely despise Tom Wilson at times, but every team, he's one like a Brad Marchand. You hate him on the opponent, you love him on your team. I like what Josh Anderson has done. I think he's been very instrumental to this team's success. When it's all said and done, both goalies getting hurt last game. Thompson comes back. Montembeault doesn't. I don't know. Dobish looked okay, but when it's all said and done, I just think Washington's a better team.
Yeah, they are. But this is why you need Montreal in the playoffs. Like, no matter what. It doesn't matter who they're playing or what's going on. They're always going to make drama. It just always ends up dramatic in any situations. And it's been fun, but kind of the series, if you had told everyone Washington win the first two, Montreal go home, they win the third one, then they lose the fourth one, you'd be like, yeah, of course. That's exactly what I would expect to happen. And we'll see Washington can close it out. And gentleman sweep, like you said, Montreal was played as well as they can, but Washington's bigger, stronger, and really should be better.
Let's go back to the West. Can you explain what has happened to the Winnipeg Jets and Connor Hellebuck? Can you explain?
It's problematic, and it would be very, very concerning if so. Now it's turned into those first two games were the outliers. Actually, what we saw in St. Louis is typical for him in the playoffs. I think so. A couple of things thinking about it, and I'll start with the circumstance in front of him. Is that every year we talk about having to be big, strong defense, play in front of the net, has to be much better, clear out. They signed a guy like Neil Pionk, who's not the biggest guy, certainly not sturdy in front of the net, to 7 years just a few days ago. Mm-hmm. He's a big piece. Morrissey's not the biggest guy, doesn't clear the front of the net very well. So I think what we're seeing maybe a little bit is it's too easy for them to get to the front of the net in the playoffs. In the regular season, there's less of that. There's less focus of that. The centermen for Winnipeg are able to control much easier. But when it comes to the playoffs, it's harder to do. And that's why you always want big, sturdy defensemen to keep guys out of the front of the net. And to that part, I don't think Hellebuck sees pucks very well through traffic. I don't think he finds pucks very well through traffic. I don't think he's very athletic. So he gets to his spot and he holds it, but he can't make a deflection save. He can't make a save that hits him and goes. He has a hard time reacting to that. And so you put both of those things together with playoff hockey, the style doesn't fit. And he's got to prove, they've got to prove a way out of this series. Because if not, it's a real indictment on the D, but mostly Connor Hellebuck.
It's going to be a great game 5 up there. It's a best of 3 now with Winnipeg and the Jim Montgomery led St. Louis Blues. Now we've seen a Monty led team in Boston go back and forth, up and down and everything. So the first 2 games kind of felt like we've seen this story before from a Montgomery led team. And that he comes back and you can easily say, hey, I've seen this before too. It's almost like feast or famine at times when he's coaching. Now let's see how both coaches, and Arneal has been a head coach before, but he was an associate for a while with Winnipeg. Now he's the head guy there. Let's see how he handles this best of 3. I agree with you about the big sturdy defense. I also do think that Winnipeg missing Velarde and Nick Ehlers has been a big deal. Velarde could come back. Let's see how healthy he is there. The other series worth touching on quickly here is Minnesota Wild and the Vegas Golden Knights. Minnesota, I will give them full marks. I wasn't believing in them as much. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to win this series, but at 2-2, and after having some big efforts of their own, now they had a chance to go up 3-1, and Vegas showed, I think, some of their true colors winning the game the other night. It was pretty impressive. It's been a fun series. Maybe a series that doesn't get as much attention, maybe. I'm not sure if it at ratings-wise. I mean, I don't care about that, but I'm just talking-wise. It's been a heavy-duty physical series as well there.
It has. I actually did pick Mini, which I was very upset about them not winning game 4 because I thought it was on their stick a few times, and I thought that would have that was going to go a long way. But like you said, Vegas showed their mettle, and it feels like Vegas with the home ice now, they've got their wake-up call, they dodged the bullet, etc. This is typically when I liked winning Minnesota because of the way Kaprizov and Ek came back and got 4 points in their first game back, and like that adversity that they dealt with all year to get those guys back, and then have Kaprizov playing the way he is and Boldy. That's why they're in this series, and that's why they're where they're at. I thought that would help them, but I really wanted them to go up 3-1 to solidify it. It's hard to pick against Vegas and what they have in a best of 3 series with home ice.
All right, so that leads to this final thing for this morning, Brew with Jaffe and Razor. You know I hate predictions, and you just brought it up, but I was still going to do it regardless. We both can do it. There are 4 series in the West that are at 2-2. We will start with Vegas, Minnesota. I have a Vegas from you.
No, I'm taking Mini because I got to stay with Mini. I picked them from the start, so I'll stay with Mini. I just think it's tougher now.
All right, I will take Vegas in that one. LA comes out of the barn flying, doing great stuff. They're up, and now they go into Edmonton, and now it's tied. LA, Edmonton, who do you got? Best of 3.
Edmonton, or LA blew it. Edmonton, Connor McDavid, even without anybody in goal, they're going to find a way to win this one.
I have a hard time with the fact that they still don't play great defense and they don't have anybody in goal, but I agree with you. Somehow, some way, it just feels like Edmonton is going to figure it out when LA totally had that. It will be impressive if LA turns it around and is able to win this one. Dallas, Colorado, the game that has gone to overtime a couple. Dallas, Colorado, game 5 coming up. Who do you got?
I'm taking Dallas. I'm surprised that they're not they're really underdog right now. And everyone saw game 4 in Colorado, and the fact they haven't been leading any of the series, I'm still holding Dallas. Maybe here Heiskanen comes back.
All right. Game 5 is tonight, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time, which means 9:52, which I can't stand. I'm going to take the Colorado Avalanche in this series. I don't know. I like the Avs when it's all said and done. Last, Winnipeg, St. Louis. Who do you got? Best of 3.
Man, oh man, I can't believe it, but I literally can't believe we're here. But I can't believe in Winnipeg again. I'm not. I can see a scenario where St. Louis pulls out game 5 and then wins in game 6. And we're just like, what just happened to Winnipeg?
Yeah, I know. I'm having the old Winnipeg.
And don't you think like the worst part about that pick is that I feel like if Winnipeg wins a series, they win the cup, and then you look like an idiot for betting against them after 4 games at the start. I feel like that.
I really have a hard time with this one, so I'm only taking Winnipeg just so you and I have something to talk about. I can't tell you I'm sitting there believing in them. I just can't. I guess I'm quietly rooting for Connor Hellebuck. I don't know him. I covered him. Obviously, we did a bunch of games with Lowell when he was there. I got a buddy, I've known Kevin Cheveldayoff for years and years and years, and I guess I'm kind of rooting for him. I guess I got nothing against St. Louis. Nothing. I like Monty. I like guys down in St. Louis, but I'm going to go with Winnipeg in this one. So we'll have to wait and see. All right, that's going to wrap up this morning brew with Jaffe and Razor. The man, the myth, the legend, Ryan Corbin. Thanks, buddy, for putting it all together, my friend. Razor, great to see you. I'm home for the next couple of days before heading, I think on the road for this weekend. I don't know yet. That's how my schedule is this time of year, as I know yours is the same way. But we'll do another morning brew with Jaffe and Razor. We'll let you know, folks, when we're going to get after it. But we will do another one coming up. In the meantime, maybe we should, I think actually yard work the next day or so is on there. But I would like to get some golf. So if you're up for it, if you're not doing, NHL radio, maybe we can find a place to go play some golf. In the meantime, everybody, enjoy this show. Enjoy the spring. It's not early anymore. It's late. Feels like we're finally starting to get it here in New England. Enjoy it. And as always, enjoy your coffee.